We're back, guys. Let's see who came in. Need to do an update on Quinton Simon. I see Tracy. Mary Glick. We were going back and forth on Facebook. Mrs. Pete, question of the day. Why hasn't Billy been charged? Why hasn't Billy been charged? I love coffee. I do too. Stacy, I got your emails. After this show, I'm going to start going through them and look at what you sent me. Hello, Seema Tuna. Hello, Pebbles. Nana Banana likes coffee too. Hello, Kiki. Hello, Kim. Dina Lynn made it in. Turn Back Time came back. All right. Phantasmic. Did you see they released warrant records showing some of the findings from? Yes, and I have not gone through it yet. I got busy between shows. Hello, Manda. Hello, Mike M. Hello, Bonnie. Hey, Jane Doe. Rexy made it in. Hey, Blackwing Paranormal, where have you been? Where have you been? Crafty, what are you working on? Crafty said, I'm going to be listening as I'm in my craft room. What crafts are you making? Are you working on Valentine's Day? Leo, I have your link for Discord, but I did not get your email. So if you send me another email, I'll send you the link. Mermaid made it in. Members, did you notice your new badges for Valentine's Day? Jules has a Winnie the Pooh, a Valentine Winnie the Pooh with honey. We have a Valentine gnome. If you're 12 months and over, you have Richard Gere and Julia Roberts from Pretty Woman. Let's see. We have roses. I'm looking right now. Let's see. There is a Minnie Mouse. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. A Minnie Mouse made out of Valentine hearts. I don't know where the hell I got that. There's another one. And Snoopy. Replay crew, you're Snoopy. Leo Girl's a gnome. Mystified, you don't see your badge? Reese Place is a gnome. Okay, I just got off topic again. I got to quit doing that. Speaking of the last show, I'm glad we're all together. The last show, woo-wee, everything was fine. Everything was right on track. Now, I got off subject because I was talking about Summer Wells, and it just it got the chat going. I'm not going to do that again. I don't mean I'm not going to talk about Summer Wells again. I'm going to stay on topic. But in the last show and after, I saw some comments of people saying, wow, Brooks, you and your chat are really judgmental. See, things like that don't garner a response, but yet here I am lowering myself. Misty Dew says, no, you're not. Misty Dew, you were in that chat, so this person thinks you're judgmental too. Don't act all cool on me, Misty. We're talking about murdered children. OMG. Do you think I'm going to sympathize with murderers and people that have neglected children? Try to understand them? No, you came to the wrong place. Wow. What I was talking about is, as we know in these cases, sometimes the wrong people get sympathy. Sometimes the wrong people get sympathy. We know in the case we're talking about right now, little Quinton Simon, there was a few people that sympathized with his mother, who's in jail for beating him to death. And there was a lot of sympathy for his grandmother, saying, she had to work. She didn't know that Leilani was going to kill him. Well, no, I don't think she did either. I don't think it ever crossed Billy's mind that her daughter would do what she's accused of, which is beating Quinton to death with an object. Call me judgmental. But we have to kind of call these things out. That's why we're here. If I ever do a show and I say, man, I just feel really bad for Leilani. I can just tell with her childhood and boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend. And, Bubba called her all those names. I can see how. No, somebody called 411. I need 3 days away, if you know what I mean. No way. Dina Lynn said Leilani is getting too much sympathy. Replay crew said, nope, I blame them both, in my opinion. Just saying. That is right. So anyway, Nana Banana owns it. She's like, I'll take judgmental in a second. Fling it. Stick it on me. Doesn't bother me. Call me whatever names you want. Mermaid says, we are opinionated, and I have seen some judgmental on some cases, and when I'm wrong, I own it. And that is reason number 5023 that I love you guys, because we're not above being wrong. We come back and say, oh, hell, I was wrong. Nobody plays the right fighter game here. They'll try, but they don't stick around for too long. We're like, whoop, I was wrong about that. Here's an example. I'm going to be a hypocrite and say I shouldn't cross cases, but here's an example of where I was wrong. Idaho 4. How many times did you guys hear me say, look, I think a woman did it? Don't discount a woman. Don't discount a woman. People forget how wrong I was and still come into chat and say, are you going to apologize for blaming all those guys? What guys? I said it was a woman. But now here we are. People saying you're being judgmental. Mike says you hurt a child or even know about a child that is being abused. Hit, hurt, and do nothing. You're a POS 100%. Mike is owning the judgmentalness. T.O. Girl knocked it out of the park with this comment. She said, would you leave your baby with the drug addict, liar, 3 baby daddies, and abusive daughter? Exactly. All right. I'm going to get to some comments, and then we're going to go through some past clips where we hear from this cast of characters themselves, and then we're going to get to the updates. And I'm going to need your help with one of the updates because it's really confusing me. I've been looking into it and it doesn't make sense, but now that I think about it, it does. So let's do the comments first. Also, the link is pinned. Okay, as you remember, during the search for Quinton Simon, when they were grueling, going through the landfill, day in, day out, horrific scene. A lot of people were very upset. I shouldn't say a lot of people. It was actually a small fraction about not making an instant arrest on Leilani. They were pretty upset. They wanted Leilani arrested without a body. I don't know what case these people have ever put in front of a jury to where they had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt murder without a body, but those were their opinions. And as we can see, I'm putting up this quote. There's little Quinton. Searchers found remains at the landfill on Friday, police said. Testing is now underway to determine whether the remains belong to Quinton. They do. We did a show about that. The working conditions were grueling and hazardous, and searchers knew that the chances of finding Quinton were low. Historically, the FBI says landfill searches are only successful 5% of the time. But remember, as we were going through this, there was a few people who thought they could do it better. That's all right, because they can't. Snazzy Trinkets Jewelry said, yes, I believe they had enough to lock her up within days of reporting him missing. However, with the other kids safe and no longer in the home, they let her stay out to build the case. They most certainly did. We did an entire show about the indictment, and boy, did they stack it on. Her giving interviews, the Tybee Island visit, online activities, communications with her boyfriend, the stay in a drug rehab, which we don't even think that happened at this point. They had their eyes on her, and I bet we're building a case so that she is unsuccessful at claiming insanity, postpartum depression, or any other out of mind or body claims in court. Now, if they will only use this 10-day hold on Billy to build a case against her for child endangerment resulting in death. Now, this comment was from a few weeks ago. It was from when Billy was in jail on her 10-day hold. It was a juvenile court hold, so it would have to do with the case of Quinton. Now, some people will say it has nothing to do with Quinton. We can agree to disagree. It is of my opinion that everything has to do with Quinton. Billy would not be in jail if it weren't for the case of Quinton Simon. It's all about Quinton. I don't understand where the whole this has nothing to do with Quinton or this has nothing to do with Quinton's murder. I don't know where all that came from. We all know it all has to do with Quinton. Every bit of it. Seema Tuna said the grandmother is the most responsible person. Leilani is the victim of her mother. The grandmother must get the highest charge. Quinton is the victim of Leilani Simon. Rest in peace. Seema's going hardcore. Seema's saying, charge Billy, then Leilani. Doesn't work that way, but I understand where you're coming from. Fun to Ski said, I wonder if Paul and Danny didn't hear anything from Quinton was because Leilani had, let's say, muffled him. Maybe put something in his mouth so he couldn't yell. She said, I don't understand why and how this young woman could have done such a cruel thing to that precious little man, Quinton. The hatred, rage, and anger within herself towards her own child. Something in her DNA is way off. Damn sure is. Oh, it certainly is. Billy Joe is next. Then Danny, Paul, and Thomas are all in line. Leilani has taken her whole family down, so I guess she got what she wanted. They all get to live with the consequences of their actions. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shit rolls downhill, right? This is a breeding ground of just toxic behavior. We saw, well, it was spelled out for us, what all went on up until October 5th, 2022. We had an eviction, even though Billy went back and said, oh, I wasn't going to evict the kids, just Leilani and her boyfriend. It had nothing to do with the kids. But in her own handwriting here on the screen, Leilani Simon is my daughter, 22 years old with her boyfriend and 3 kids. They have damaged my property, and at this point, no one is living in peace. Not looking to be compensated, just want them to move out as quick as possible. She wants them all gone. She wants them all out of her damn hair. Blue Kool-Aid said, just like in Idaho, I don't believe no one in that house didn't hear a scream. Wow. Wow. Danny was home. Paul was home. Some people say Thomas was home, but Thomas was actually in North Carolina working. Thomas didn't hear a scream. What do you guys think? Just like in Idaho, I don't believe no one in that house didn't hear a scream. Shannon's backstage. Let's see what she thinks. Hello, Shannon. Good afternoon.
Hey, how's it going? I'm on my lunch break, so I figured I'd come on in and get on this one because it's been all these other cases, and we gotta remember Quinton. We gotta keep remembering little Quinton. This
And
is
when I
keep
follow
going.
every case to the end, can't do it
Yeah,
every
me too. Yeah, I do.
can't do it once a week, but when there's an update, we're going to make the time. We're going to make the time. Tasha believes Danny knows and took a plea deal. What is your judgmental opinion, Shannon? Do you think anybody in that house heard a scream?
I think so. I think there's a lot that is not being told because you got Leilani, who I believe is a liar from get go, and then I think her mama covers for her, and I believe Danny knows more. He does, and then of course you got the other family members. What the hell were they doing?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's more people who know, and these people are accessories. They were accessories for sure.
Because Billy was in Illinois, Thomas was in North Carolina, but both Thomas and Billy knew that Leilani was not to be left alone with her children, with Zane and Quinton. I
Yeah,
go,
they all should get a fault for this. They all should. And I don't know how much they're gonna pay. I mean, it seems like Billy's gonna be getting more, which I'm so happy about.
mhm.
But I don't know if we're gonna see charges for any of those other guys.
Probably not, because it comes down to it. The paperwork all has Billy's name on it, not Thomas, not Danny, not Paul. It comes down to Leilani's the killer, and Billy is the one that was responsible. Paul was, I mean, in the house. Paul and Danny were in the house. So the question is, I mean, what is this, a soundproof home? How did they not hear anything? Were they all doped up? That could
Yeah,
be
'cause
a
Paul
possibility.
was home. Yeah, because Paul was home even after Danny supposedly left. So Paul was should have been there, right? That's what because he didn't say he left.
No, Paul. There was four people home that night. Four adults. No, I'm sorry, three adults.
Yeah,
Danny, Paul, and Leilani, and three children. So you got six people in the house. Leilani, we know what she was up to.
yeah,
What was Danny and Paul doing?
yeah. They know. They know something. How much they know that I don't know, but they know something more than they're saying. And did Danny come up with a break from them? Sorry, of course the dog's gonna bark. Uh, did they come up with a deal with the police? To Danny? That's possible.
Oh yeah, I can't wait till they get further along in this case and we see what Danny, because they're gonna have to mention Danny at some point and what he told them,
Oh yeah,
because he hightailed it after he got interrogated. He hightailed it to Hotlanta to play pool with his friends. Then he wound up going to North Carolina to flop on his mama's couch.
he got out of Dodge quicker than anything.
Mm-hmm.
He don't want to be a part of it, but he was. He sure was.
Mary said they were sleeping like rocks. They were sleeping like something. So what they do?
No.
Just roll over and go to sleep, and just to figure it was a sleeping baby, and Leilani will take care of it. I'm sorry, a crying baby, and they figure Leilani will take care of it. Or like I said, were they just all doped up and nothing's going to wake them up?
Yeah, it's another thing like the Indiana. The Idaho rather. It's just the same. There's just some of these details that they all like to say. I'm like, no, no, we ain't buying it. We ain't buying it. Nope, not buying it at all.
I'm typing out a comment to Cotton Candy. Leilani's hearing got moved to February. She was supposed to have one this month, but it got moved to February.
Yeah, I need a calendar just for the trials and hearings, everything going on.
I know, and it's going to get interesting. I haven't seen that the defense has done any request for discovery. She has a public defender. Which, I mean, that goes without saying. Of course, she's going to have a public defender. Now, to save her own skin, Billy was trying to sell the RV, $19,000. She said, "I'm not making a dime off of it. That's even Steven. That's what she owes the bank." We all know that when you owe the bank, there's some dollars and cents attached. It's not, to use simple math, it's not 10 even dollars. It would be $10.22. You know what I'm saying? But she
Yeah.
says she owes 19,000 even on that RV. Sounds to me
Mm.
like she probably owed 9,000 on it and she needs 10,000 in her pocket because 2 days after that is when she went to jail. She knew she was going to need some money. She's not going to get stuck with a public defender like Leilani. She wants a good attorney to get her out of what she did.
Yeah, she's gonna let her sit. Remember, she took her to her last supper too.
Yeah, like that ever happened.
Yeah, I don't think that happened either, but it's a good story. To the buffet.
Oh yeah, it really melted my heart. I was so mad.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh, come on, get
I
over
could
yourself.
not believe that day when people were coming in and they were like, Brooks, you need to do your research. You need to do your research. Billy was working undercover with the FBI. She was working with the FBI. She took Leilani to get Chinese food, and then Leilani turned herself in. I was about to eat the laptop. I was like, what?
No,
No,
no, never.
no, not at all. Not at all. So there's their mugshots. I still do not know what exactly Billy got put in the clink for 10 days. All I know is contempt of court. Some people say it was a gag order. Some
Mm.
people say, nope, it had to do with the contempt is letting Leilani be with Quinton because the order was for Leilani to not be alone with those children, which is true because if you look on the screen, when they finally took Zane from Billy, it says the maternal grandmother has a permanent guardianship order as to the child Zane, pursuant to documents from juvenile court of Burke County. The maternal grandmother failed to provide adequate supervision for the child Zane by leaving the child Zane in the home in the care of the mother, a person the maternal grandmother knew or should have known was unfit to provide proper care while the maternal grandmother traveled out of state. So a lot of people are saying the contempt is exactly what's on the screen and exactly the reason why when they went to court in October, why they removed all the children, not just from Leilani, but from Billy too.
But does that go under the definition of contempt of court? Because I have to look that up again. I'm
Uh,
just thinking if that covers that the contempt of court violation.
Contempt can be sneezing too loud in court.
Right, but I'm saying that's why I thought it would have to take place in the courtroom, but I could be wrong.
Oh, well, that could be true too,
Maybe
but
she went to court and then she lied in court.
could be.
Because I don't know if it just breaking this would be, I wouldn't think it would be called contempt of court, but I could be wrong.
Do you think maybe the contempt of court, because they said breaking the gag order, meaning contempt of court can just be not doing what the judge said. It doesn't have to be physically in the room in front of them.
It could be the gag order then. That could be it. Yeah.
But then why didn't they do that in November? To me, it goes back to this paperwork. She was ordered to not leave the children alone with Leilani. Leilani is unfit. She either knew or should have knew. She did,
Oh, she knew.
and we know what happened.
I mean, none of us thinks that she thought that she was gonna, kill her kid, but still, that's the matter of fact. She left her with someone she's not supposed to leave them with.
Well, just
That's
breaking a court order is contempt.
yeah.
You're just not following what the judge said.
So yeah, that could be it. But yeah, because I think a lot of us see it as different. But yeah, it's much broader, I suppose, than just being breaking a gag order. It could be exactly what's on the screen.
Oh, I mean, that's their paperwork. It's not mine.
So
That's the state of Georgia's paperwork. That's not mine. As far as a gag order on YouTube, she was talking about the kids and wasn't supposed to. Well, then they would have nabbed her then.
yeah.
But she continued to. So I'm going to go back to, we're going to hear from the horse's mouth, get a little refresher as to how these things were explained up until Leilani's arrest.
I did. I got here about 3 o'clock yesterday.
And I got here about 3:30 in the morning.
That's just it's been crazy. I mean, we don't know nothing. Whether it's the answers we want to hear or answers we don't want to hear. We just want to know something. My concern is him. And that's all it is. I mean, we concerned with his well-being.
I know everybody worked really hard yesterday, but I want them to keep working hard.
And we appreciate everything that everybody has done, all the people that's come out and searched for him and all that. And he's always smiling. He's a happy kid. I mean, you get some kids but he always had a big smile on his face, and he was always happy.
Let me ask you, why are you getting emotional?
Because he's not here. He's just a baby, and I want him home. He's just.
All right. Right after this interview on WSAV, there are pictures of Billy. She's smoking a cigarette. She's talking to some other people. And the look on her face right here where she's crying and breaking up, she wasn't crying. She was actually sort of jolly. She kind of liked having these people circled around her as she tells them about her plight in life. Did you see those pictures, Shan?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to read up about contempt of court. I'm sorry. I'm like distracted. I think I saw them. Yeah.
So she goes from all of this, he's just a baby. He's just a baby. I want him back. And she's crying. She's upset. Mm-hmm. Right after the camera goes off and they're just taking still shots, she's talking to a group of women. She's standing there smoking a cigarette. Not a tear in sight.
Yeah, she's full of it. I don't believe a word she says either. The apple don't fall far from the tree with her and her daughter. And the only difference is, Billy Joe hasn't killed anybody that we're aware of.
No, and they can't get her for murder when she didn't kill anybody. That's for certain. And it's just my judgmental opinion that it is the toxic environment that she created that bred all of this. Yeah. She herself asked, she said, why did God give me 2 murderers? Did God do it? I don't think this was God's doing.
No. It's the way she brought up her kids and the way what she's allowed accepting. If she truly didn't want that in her home when Leilani got to be of age, she wouldn't have allowed her to be in her home. When she would have, she would have taken those kids like the right way at some point and not let Leilani live in her house with the children. There's many things she could have done, but that was just one. There's, all kinds of things she could have done to discourage behavior. I mean, she may not have been able to save Leilani, but she eventually could have saved her babies.
I think the first step would have been, Leilani, too much has gone on. The kids are staying here with me as per this order from the court, and you and Danny are going to have to go somewhere else. Now, yep. She hadn't gotten custody of Sky yet, and some people say, well, the reason she let Leilani stay there is so she could keep an eye on Sky. That I honestly could understand, but there's no way in hell I would leave Leilani alone with any of those kids at any time.
No, I wouldn't either.
Because she can't keep Sky because she doesn't have guardianship of Sky. She only has guardianship of Zane and Quinton. So in order to keep an eye on Sky, you have to have Leilani in the house because Leilani has custody of Sky. It's messed up. It's convoluted. It's a toxic environment. So knowing all these things, she goes and works out of town. Nobody's fretting her for having a job. Not at all. She should have a job. She's got a lot of mouths to feed. She should have a damn job. But she didn't put the proper things in place to make sure Leilani was not alone with the kids.
Exactly. And actually, I think that we are correct. You're correct on that. I think that the contempt is the ignoring of the family court order. It says that the civil contempt of court, and it usually includes jail time. So I think that's exactly what it was for.
Well, to me, that's the only thing it could be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Yeah.
There's no gag order that I've ever seen, but we
Yeah, I
have
don't think they got her for talking at all. I think they got her for the court order. That's
yeah,
exactly
that's
what
all it
it
could
is.
be. I mean, like I said, this is their paperwork. It's not just my opinion. I mean, the paperwork clearly says she knew or should have known that Leilani was unfit to parent. That's what the judge said. She did it anyway. She got to sit in jail until December 23rd. Now, what I'm waiting on is for them to put the final boom on her, finish their investigation, and formally charge her. Not just scare the piss out of her, formally charge her.
Oh, I can't wait either. Oh, that'd be wonderful. We're getting all these horrible people off the street. Let's get her off. Let's continue this role that we're on right now. Let's continue. We can't bring these babies back, unfortunately, but we can give them justice.
I would kind of like to know. She raised some money for Quinton's funeral. I'd like to know where that money has gone. Thank you for the super sticker, T.O. girl.
I can't believe people gave her money, but then again, we saw the people she was surrounded with for a while there, so hey.
Well, she got a ring. She got a bracelet. She got some food delivered to her. And I know people were like, oh, you're saying she can't even eat? Yeah, she can eat. She can call Instacart. She can have groceries delivered over, and she can make herself a damn sandwich.
Sure.
Have to sit there and have a freaking pizza party with all this going on? Nutcase.
Have we heard if the guy there, her husband or whatever? I even forget his name because he's only sort of involved. Is he still with her that we are aware of? Are they still together?
They're still together, surprisingly so. They're still together.
I can't believe he didn't leave her. I would.
I know. I'd be like, lady, this isn't what I signed up for. I can't. Well, but it's early on yet. It's early on.
I'd say get the hell out of there, dude. Get as far away as you can. That's where Danny went. Danny went there and he was even more involved. He got out of Dodge.
Yeah. It's a sad day when Danny's got more sense than Tommy.
Yeah, I don't know why he's not doing anything.
Well,
something's holding him there. I don't know what it is. He's got no common sense. That's it.
I'd want nothing to do with that mess. I'd be like, are you kidding me? You got a son in jail for murder. You got a daughter in jail for murder. Little Quinton was killed inside my house. You're in jail for 10 days. Our family is all over the news. I'm done. I'm good.
Mm-hmm. I'd file that paperwork and get out of there.
Me too.
Let me ask you, why are you getting emotional?
Because he's not here. He's just a baby. And I want him home. He's just a baby. Leilani's my daughter. She's 22. She hasn't always done the right things. And sometimes she does really great, and sometimes she doesn't.
Oh, always done the right things? Oh, that's funny.
She said she hasn't always done the right thing. Sometimes she does really great. Sometimes she doesn't. Then she starts to break down again. I think this is where she goes into, I don't know what to think anymore. She's sitting there telling the whole town of Savannah on WSAV. She says, sometimes she does really great. Sometimes she doesn't. Then we go back to the court paperwork that's saying she knew or should have known that her daughter was unfit. She can't take care of kids. She also knew that they were in the process of getting Sky away from her. She knew it.
Yeah, I don't have any sympathy for Billy Joe at all.
Kat said, let's not forget that Billy Joe blamed the babysitter at every turn.
Yeah, that's another thing. She went and attacked the babysitter too.
I know.
That's, that woman, I mean, I'm not saying that she's the greatest person ever, but she did seem to care about the babies. So
she did. I think she really cared about Quinton. I think she was super, super upset at what happened.
I think she's more upset than the family is.
They're upset for their own inconveniences, but not for Quinton.
Yeah.
Mrs. O, I see you backstage, and for some reason it says devices not connected. And as far as Diana's a nice lady. She had her daughter, record that argument where Billy was going to beat her up in her recliner. I don't think that should have been given to the news. I think that should have been given to the police and been done with it, because it just created more insanity.
The thing is, with her also going on YouTube and wherever, because she went all over the place for a while there, Diana. And I feel like we all knew that she cared, but was there a point where she just wanted to be a part of the publicity? That's the question I started to have. It's like, okay, are you out for something now? Because, I mean, that's what it looks like.
Well, we believe her that she cares about Quinton and she's upset, but it's like, getting your ass beat in your recliner doesn't prove the point. We already believed you.
Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't heard from her lately, but then again, I haven't done a searching for her either. So
well, I think once they put Leilani in jail, the day that they put Leilani in jail, I hopped on, did a live, and I said, now the circus stops. Now it stops unless people are just going to drum up rumors and lies, because it's in the hands of Lady Justice. Everything's going to be what's released in the documents.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what to think right now. I don't know what to believe, because I don't think anybody ever believes that this is going to happen to them. I don't know if I can trust her or if I don't. I just know I'm hurting. I want this baby home.
We want answers. We don't have answers.
I don't know if I can trust her or if I don't. I just know he's my baby and I want my baby. Well, he's not your baby. He's your grandson. You didn't have a baby. The baby you had killed your grandbaby. So you can quit that right there. And then when she starts that, I don't know if I can trust her, if I can't. She would have been so gone out of my house. She'd been so gone.
Yeah, and then you notice Billy Joe's not letting Tommy speak at all.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know why, but I don't know if he even, it's like, why is he standing there? I can't figure out why he's standing there at all, to be honest with you.
I think she was really mad when Tommy spoke to the local news and just said all Leilani does is lie. Like, even if the truth sounds better, she just lies and lies and lies, he said.
He knows.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to defend Leilani for a while there. And remember the interview they had with, where Leilani was faking the tears too. That was another fun one too.
Oh, that's coming up. Don't you worry. We're all going to get refreshed, then to the new stuff.
Yeah. They can fake them tears. They can.
Hot Pink Jalapenos, which is a super cool name, said it was an act for deflection. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
OG said, when I saw that clip, immediately thought, oh, I see an emoji of a pill and an emoji of a wine glass.
Well, they went out partying later on, so, hey.
Party.
It's a party place.
I just know I'm hurting. I want this baby home.
We want answers. We don't have answers.
Just thank you to everybody that's out.
Thank you for everybody that's looked for him.
And please don't stop looking.
Yeah. Like I say, we want answers. We want to find him. That's the answer we want, is somebody found him. We're still hoping and praying, and we wish everybody to pray for him. Pray for us.
Yes.
She probably chewed his ass out all the way home. What do you mean pray for us? You mean pray for me? Didn't you hear me telling everybody I'm hurting? Why didn't you at least hug me?
Yep.
Let's see what Mrs. O has to say. She tried to connect on the last show, and it looks like she's connected now. Do you have your YouTube app off, Mrs. O? Let's see. We had trouble on the last show.
hurting? Why didn't you at least hug me?
Nope. You have to turn your YouTube app off, or I can hear myself. We don't want to hear two of me, do we, Shannon?
No, not really. I don't even want to hear two of myself.
Thank you, Shannon. It is crazy, crazy. Let me tell you. So, also from the main cast of characters, we got to hear, and I loved the setup. They're standing outside the garage door, and trying to get the public to believe them. To be quite honest, when you think about this interview with Billy and Leilani, you have to kind of to be quite honest, you have to be offended because they really think people are this damn dumb. When Leilani starts in about, and if it turns out I did do something, I'm going to drive myself down. Billy, I'm going to go with her. Sure you are.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Dawn Baker. In a WTOC exclusive, Leilani Simon, the mother of missing Chatham County toddler Quinton Simon, is speaking out tonight for the very first time since he was reported missing nearly 3 weeks ago. Chatham County Police and the FBI believe Quinton is dead and are actively searching a local landfill for his remains. Police say Leilani is the only suspect in his disappearance as well as his death. And tonight we have team coverage with our Shay Schrader and investigative reporter Max Dieknike. We begin with Shay, who joins us live.
And this is what idiots they are. Idiots. Standing in front of the garage door, before they even get into the interview, they go ahead and tell everybody she's the only suspect. She's the only suspect in her son's disappearance. And by the way, they're searching the landfill for his remains right now. So before they even get to hoodwink us, they go ahead and fill everybody in. Absolutely crazy.
Outside of the Simon home. Shay, what did she talk to you about?
Leilani and I spoke about a number of things, including what she remembers from the morning she first reported Quinton missing to what life has been like as the days have gone on, still with no sign of Quinton. I talked to Leilani as well as her mother, Billy Howell, who were both just distraught over Quinton's disappearance. They say they've been harassed in the days and weeks since Quinton disappeared, but Leilani wants everybody to know that she's not running away.
I'm here. I've been here every day since this. I am not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Chatham County Police have repeatedly said that though they've named Leilani the prime suspect in her son's disappearance and death, they don't believe she's a flight risk. Leilani says that she and her mother, Billy Howell, spend their days in the backyard of their home because it's too difficult to be inside with reminders of Quinton and the fact that he's gone.
Every day that goes by is less tears and more anger, not knowing what's happening, if that's even understandable. You wake up every day angry, hoping that you're going to get a phone call. And
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
They are absolutely horrible. They have to sit outside because of all the reminders of Quinton inside. So these two dumbasses sit in the backyard. They get drunk in the backyard instead of in the house. So they sit in the backyard and they look at an empty hole in the ground, which is the swimming pool that the FBI drained, because that empty swimming pool doesn't remind them of Quinton at all, does it?
Mm-mm. I mean, Billy Joe wants that fixed, so she can think about that while she's out there.
Having barbecues, having pizza delivered over, sitting there looking at an empty swimming pool, because like I said, that wouldn't remind you of Quinton at all, would it?
She's just ridiculous.
Michelle said this is the stupidest thing anyone say on the news. It truly is. Let's see if Mrs. O got connected. Hello, Mrs. O. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Hello. It is not meant to be. It is not meant to be.
Okay, Brooks, we need to create like a dumbest criminals of all these cases because she's on there. Leilani and Billy Joe. All of them on there.
I would say these, yeah, for sure. For sure. You're standing there, like I said, your backdrop is your garage door, and she's doing the best she can to try to drum up some tears. Billy Joe looks constipated, not gonna lie. She looks constipated. Mm-hmm.
Well, at least they look like they've showered, so they've been in the house at some point or another.
Yeah, they didn't get, yeah, they didn't.
There's no water in that pool, so, they can't go in there.
Yeah, they didn't jump in the empty pool. And then they said, we have to sit outside because inside reminds us of Quinton. Well, of course it reminds you of Quinton. That's where he was murdered. If you look at the outside of the house, it's going to remind you of Quinton. But yet Billy, she's inside the house right now. What is she doing now? Is she not reminded of Quinton in there? Crazy.
And the fact that he's gone.
Every day that goes by, it's less tears and more anger, not knowing what's happening. If that's even understandable. You wake up every day angry, hoping that you're going to get a phone call, and that phone call just doesn't come.
CCPD and the FBI haven't released many details in the case and haven't said why they believe Quinton is in a landfill. Police say they're doing that to...
I'm going to help Shay Schrader out here. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Poor Shay. I think, after a while with these cases, like our brains become oatmeal. They haven't said why they think he's in the landfill. Yeah, they have, because they have a video of Leilani at the dumpster putting Quinton in it. That's why they think he's in the landfill.
You got to wonder what Leilani thought about to make herself cry, because it wasn't Quinton.
Well, let me ask you this, Shannon. Do those look like real tears to you?
No. She thought about the fact that pretty soon I'm going to have to live in jail. I'm crying for myself.
You know what I think? And I don't know the woman. I don't want to know her. I think she's I think she's scum. Total scum. Do you know what I think? I think her and Billy were sitting in that backyard because, well, they are probably smart enough to know that they were being recorded inside the house or could have been being recorded. I think they really thought that they would never find Quinton. Therefore, she wouldn't get into as much trouble. That's what I...
Sick.
I really do.
They make me sick.
Because when you hear Billy say, we don't want him to be found in that landfill, she stops herself and says, in that landfill. What she really means is, we don't want him found. We don't want him found.
I'm trying to remember the timeline. So this was, because all these cases get in my head. Did she post that post, Billy Joe, that we all said that she said, oh, that Leilani told me that she killed Quinton and dumped him? Was this before this interview?
Oh yeah, this was a couple weeks before this interview.
Oh, she knew. Oh gosh, yeah, there's just no way. She's full of it.
To preserve any potential court cases down the line. Leilani and Billy tell me that they get their new information about the case from watching the news and that they feel all they can do now is hope.
We want something great to come out of this, but mostly we want him not to be found in that landfill. We
want something great to come out of this. I've got something great for you. This is what great came out of it. You two going to jail. We want something great to come out of this.
Oh, dear.
Oh my! Look at Leilani's face.
They went to the same school of how to fake a cry on camera.
Hang on, we have to pause for a moment. Shelly Agua said, hold on, let me barf.
I'm sorry, Shelly. I hope you didn't eat too much before you watched.
OG said, I guarantee Leilani called BJ after she did it. Some people not only believe she called Billy right after, like when, everything went down that morning, some people believe Billy maybe gave her some advice on where to put Quinton.
Yeah, Leilani. I like the way she also split Leilani. There you go. I also think that Leilani is not that smart. She's done too many drugs and God knows what else. So yeah, there's not much of a brain in there, I don't think.
You can't spell either one of those names without a lie. Lie, Lonnie, L-I-E dash Lonnie. Billy, B-I-L dash L-I-E. Bill, lie, Lonnie.
Apple don't far fall from the tree.
You got it, girlfriend.
Want him found happy and alive. We want him back in our arms, holding us. That's what we want. We're just hoping that he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him, and we're hoping that, maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior.
She's so nasty. Look at Billy. Billy, I don't know. I tell you what, if I was Billy, I would have choked her right there. I want to know, when Chief Hadley saw this, or the main investigator in Chatham County, let's take a poll. Do you think they were super pissed watching this? Think about being one of those searchers in the landfill that saw this on the news when they got back to their hotel room. Do you think they rolled on the floor laughing their ass off? Or do you think they were just pissed?
They were pissed. And they wanted to go strangle both of them.
Okay, Shannon votes for pissed. Mel O said super pissed.
Super pissed? Okay.
Keep It Real said beyond heated. Kat said super effing pissed. Everybody's with pissed. I just don't know. I mean, I think after I'd been in that landfill all day and knowing that I was on week 3, 4 coming up on Thanksgiving, and I saw live from outside the garage door, man, I think I'd have been furious with those two. Furious.
I'd be calling up the chief going, what do you think if we go down there in the dark of night and take care of some business?
Yeah.
And they go, we can't do that. Well, we don't have to tell nobody. It's an accident.
Good Grandma said, my youngest grandchild turned 2 in September right before this happened. This is so sick. And no matter how old your kids get, you still think of them when they were younger. Mermaid said cherry pissed. That's what I'm talking about. Now that's pissed. Now that's pissed. Today is my son's birthday and he's a grown man. I cannot look at a picture of Quinton Simon without stopping and having to take pause. I gulp, and it just bothers me every single time I think about it. And when I think about these two, they really thought they were fooling people. They really thought they scored points with people. They really thought they scored points with people on this. Listen to these dumbasses. Worthless bitches.
Honestly, we want him not to be found in that landfill. We want him found happy and alive. We want him back in our arms, holding us. That's what we want. We're just hoping that he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him, and we're hoping that, maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior. But it's not. That's their best hopes at this point.
Chatham County police say they have no reason to believe that Quinton was abducted or kidnapped, and they have evidence that suggests he was placed in a dumpster and that his remains are in the landfill that they're currently searching. Leilani Simon hasn't been charged with anything at this time, but police say she is the only suspect in her son's disappearance. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Live in Chatham.
I still love it that at the end, looking at that repulsive mess outside of the garage door, Shay Schrader comes in and she goes, and she's the only suspect. And they are still searching the landfill. I thought that was genius. To be quite honest, I thought that was genius.
Well, when they were saying, I hope he's in a better place. Well, thank God he is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the place that we all wanted him to be, but thank the Lord.
Yep. Let's see what Keep It Real has to say. Hello, Keep It Real.
How you doing? I was going
We're
to ask you,
good.
could you go back to that part? I call it like the admission of guilt. Her statement was, I can't quote it, if I did this, I would turn myself in. You know that
Yep.
part that I'm talking about?
Yep, it's right here. Hang on.
I'm here. I've been here every day since this. I am not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Chatham County Police have repeatedly said that though they've named Leilani the prime suspect in her son's disappearance and death, they don't believe she's a flight risk. Leilani says that she and her mother, Billy Howell, spend their days in the backyard of their home because it's too difficult to be inside with reminders of Quinton and the fact that he's gone.
Every day that goes by is less tears and more anger, not knowing what's happening, if that's even understandable. You wake up every day angry, hoping that you're going to get a phone call, and that phone call just doesn't come.
CCPD and the FBI haven't released many details
Want something
down the line. Leilani and Billy tell me that they get their new information about the case from watching the news and that they feel all they can do now is hope.
We want something great to come out of this, but mostly we want him not to be found in that landfill. We want him found happy and alive. We want him back in our arms, holding us. That's what we want. We're just hoping that he's in somebody's house and they're feeding him, and we're hoping that, maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. Maybe they thought they were his savior. But it's not. That's their best hopes at this point.
Chatham County Police say they have no reason to believe.
Well, I went past it. Because she says, I'm here. I've been here. What do you want to say about it? Keeping it real, I'll find it.
Oh no, you already said it and you already replayed it. I just looked at this. At that time, Leilani could have avoided all this tragedy, pimps, all these protesters by that admission of, I call it guilt. And then when they moved the memorial, and I asked Dolly politely, I'm like, can you get one of those big bears and put it up there for me? And
no, you've never been on panel before. We don't talk about other creators here. We just don't, because for one, I probably don't know what you're talking about because I can't possibly keep up with all that. We just stay with the case. So, but no, what you're saying makes sense. I mean, she basically, she doesn't admit guilt. She says, if it turns out I had anything to do with this, she says she's going to drive herself down there. Now, according to Billy, she was working undercover for the FBI, which she was not. They're not going to trust her with something like that. She said that she went and got her out of a rehab. I do not believe that for a minute. And that she took her for Chinese food, and then she took her to the FBI. The FBI is not the arresting agency. Chatham County was. And then here comes Brett Buffington, and he explained how it went down. Nobody knew she was going to be arrested, including Billy. Here we go.
Circumstances of her arrest, where and when it happened?
We know she was picked up from her home and taken to the Chatham County Detention Center. That happened just as they were making that arrest or making that announcement on yesterday. They told us that they didn't want anyone to have any exclusives in this case. They would release this to every affiliate here in Savannah at the same time. And they kept their word to that. I can tell you that they called the news directors and they gave us a heads up that there was an announcement coming. They made that announcement. And we know that she was quickly booked into the Chatham County Jail. She was supposed to have a bond here.
Oh, I'm up here by myself now. I had two people, now it's just me. So right there, Brett Buffington is saying, They arrested her at home, and they quickly booked her into Chatham County. Brett Buffington does not mention the trip to the China King, the egg drop soup, the $9.99 buffet, and he somehow leaves out the whole part of Billy working for the FBI to bring her own daughter in. Absolutely nuts. Does it work now, Mrs. O?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Brooks. I'm sorry, I'm new at this. So thank you for letting me in. How are you doing?
Good.
Hello, everybody. This case is so fascinating to me. This is a culture I will never understand. A subculture, I would say. They are so emotionally and socially stunted. They make a good decision and then 10 minutes later, they make a wrong one that messes up that good one that they made. It's like, whoa.
What good decision have they made? Because
Okay.
I
Okay.
missed that.
Okay. Billy Joe made the good decision to take custody of these kids, okay?
Oh, okay.
And then she goes and she went to school. Another good decision to become a welder and better her life. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And then she takes this job that takes her away from these kids for 3 months and leaves these kids with that same person that she took these kids away from.
Mm-hmm.
What is that about? Okay, you took him away from them.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good decision. And then you messed that up with huge bad decision. Did you see how those two collide and don't make sense? It's like socially stunted, emotionally stunted. It's like, what was that about?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, do not make sense. And then your daughter killed the kid. You know that. You send that message very early on. My daughter killed my grandson, put it in the garbage. He's in the landfill. Remember that message? Who did she send it to? Another content creator. She sent that message very early on.
Mm-hmm.
She did send that, and it was true.
Mm-hmm.
That message is true. So she knew that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I lost my train of thought. But anyways, why oh, I just have so many questions about this subculture. It's a generational thing because I think Billy Joe went to trauma too when she was young, and her mom also has a history too. This is a generational thing: drugs and crime and jail, and it's like the best thing that can happen for say those two other kids is to not ever be in that family again, ever, and to never know what is in their past because that is that culture that I will never understand. And oh, I wish I had never known that culture again because it's so disturbing what they live in. I mean, Billy Joe knew what happened to those kids. Oh, this is what I was going. She knew what it was happening, what happened to those kids very early on. And then they continued to have parties at that house and gatherings and stuff like that. It's like, come on, you know, if you know something that horrible happened at your house, you know that people are going to be looking at, especially when those protesters, which that was horrible too, are outside of your house. You know what the optics is going to be like, are going to be like. You know that social media is everywhere. Anybody with a phone right now is a journalist. Everybody, and everybody has a narrative. Everybody does. And you know that, do you know how that is making you look like? You were looking like a total garbage trash, garbage can. And then you decided to go, instead of joining with the protesters to help you look for your grandson or making you look better, you joined the other side. It's like, what is wrong with you? Where is your mind? What is going in that head of yours? Do you have ramen noodles up there? Right?
I've always thought that it means more, not just in this case, but in some other cases. I'm not going to go into all that. I'm only going to talk about this case. That there are some people that it means more to them to save face and appearances for social media instead of the judge and jury that can save their ass, which is the court.
It goes back to me to that social and emotional stunted that it's like they cannot make a right decision to save their life
You're
anywhere.
you're right about that.
They just can't. I mean, nowhere. It's like, yeah, she went to school and stuff like that. It's like, and buy all of these fancy things, the house, the RVs, and stuff like that. But when it comes to development, mentally, socially, and stuff like that, it just can't. They just can't. It's some, I just something I cannot understand. It's that subculture. I just, I just can't.
Well, it's like we were talking about, and I'm not talking about this case. It's just
Earlier case too.
That's what I'm talking about. Somebody had left a comment and said, "I'm so glad I don't understand these people." We don't understand these people. I don't want to understand these people. I'm not doing any deep dive into sociology and how they live. I don't give a shit how they live. I think it's freaking disgusting. I think it's
I agree with
disgusting
that.
that you have a judge say this chick right here is unfit. She might be your daughter. You have a little bit of background noise, so I had to mute you for a second. Keep it real. She might be your daughter. You might love her to the moon and back, but she's unfit. She can't be around your grandkids. And what do? You go out of town to work. You have to work. Mamas have to work. Sorry, they do. A lot of times they do. You can have a career and you can have your children. You have to make arrangements that your children are taken care of, though. And she didn't make those arrangements. If she had made those arrangements, Quinton would be alive. Lisa Lee, you're exactly right. They didn't even take into consideration that the party was over. They continued their hooping and hollering while a few miles from them, there were agents from Quantico, Virginia, going through all the trash in Savannah, Georgia, to find Quinton's remains. To find them. Uh-oh. I lost Mrs. O.
I think she dropped.
Looks like it. So what are your thoughts on all this? I'm getting ready to get to the update.
Well, I'm looking at it is she's got so much, and I'm talking about BJ, has so much tendencies on it. It makes me wonder, has she ever done something like this in her lifetime? And that's the only thing that's puzzling me is this nature or nurture that made Leilani get this way? Did mom teach her to be this way because another family member is already in jail for murder? It's the tendency.
Well, I mean, Leilani was removed from her mother for quite a period of time. Then she got her back, and you can't just step back into being a parent after you've lost your child. The kids are smart. Kids are smart. And they also know that mom has to do what the daughter says or they're going to lose them again. And
Yes,
so they became friends as opposed to mother-daughter, because you don't carry much weight as far as a parent when your own child knows they were removed from you for a reason because you're not a good parent. Kids are smart.
You're right about that one. Look at the 5-year-old out in Oklahoma that told everything, and they already found child's remain. 2 people are in jail, and this happened currently within this week.
Kids are smart. So when she got Leilani back, their relationship has always been fire and ice. It's been crazy. Let me look at this clip real quick.
I'm going to jump down because I can tell I'm getting the back feed with the TV. I'll come back a little bit later.
Okay, good to have you up.
Thank you.
Just Me said nurture. Babies aren't born bad. Mama B said she lost her kids for 9 years. So she gets the kids back and she can't fill the mother role because they know they haven't had a mother for 8 or 9 years during very, very, very formative years. They're not adults. They're not adults. And suddenly Billy wants to be the mama. Well, you can't be the mama. They know you're a failure. They know the government told you you can't be their mom for a while. How humiliating is that?
Neighborhood before Chatham County Police announced they found Quinton's body, and people living there weren't ready to talk then, but some opening up today. Our Shay Schrader joins us live from the Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. And Shay, what did people near there tell you today?
Well, first off, we know that investigators think that Leilani went from her home on Buckhalter Road in the early hours of October 5th and came here to the Azalea Mobile Home Park, which is just 2 miles away from her home, to put her son's body in a dumpster. People that live around here had their suspicions for quite some time, saying that after Quinton was first reported missing, police showed up in large numbers, searching dumpsters, pulling security camera footage, and just generally looking for any evidence they could find.
I live in the trailer, the next trailer on the next road over, same side as this. And I came home that morning from delivering newspapers, and I saw some vehicles parked here.
Cars he says he wasn't used to seeing, parked outside of his tenant's trailer. He says he went over to see what was going on.
GBI and FBI agents here. There was 2 vehicles parked here, and they were waiting for the manager to come down.
Okay, so this dude's telling it. You can see the dumpster right behind him, right over his left shoulder. Well, and right shoulder if you can see over it, but you can't. He gets there. You've got Georgia Bureau of Investigation. You've got the FBI. Still blows my mind that people said that law enforcement didn't do a good job with this. Still blows my mind. Before it even made the first news cycle, which hit around noon on October 5th, they were already going through the dumpsters. They already knew what she did. And look how long it took to find him. They already had a very good inkling what was going on. And this poor guy, I'd have PTSD looking at those dumpsters.
She called me and asked me if I could take the camera off up here. If you look above the window, you'll see the mount is still up there from where the camera was at, and it was pointed toward the trash cans.
Bowman says the police were asking every...
Okay, so they took the camera off of the building. They didn't wait for the tape or anything. They took the damn camera. Don't think when trial time comes, you're not going to see the back of Leilani putting Quinton in the dumpster. Wolfpack said Ellie did a phenomenal job. I think so too.
Above the window, you'll see the mount is still up there from where the camera was at, and it was pointed toward the trash cans.
Bowman says the police were asking everyone in the area if they had cameras on their homes and were going through the dumpsters repeatedly. He says they stayed for around a week and talked to him as well as other people multiple times.
It was mainly just questions if I had seen anybody around the dumpsters, if I'd seen any strange cars, any strange people walking around. That was I'd say 90 to 95% of the questions that they asked.
The police presence, Bowman says, was very unusual. Though the police wouldn't say what they were there for, people living here had their suspicions. And now that Leilani has been indicted, Bowman says he's relieved to know that the search efforts were successful.
I hope they find out really and truly what happened, because if she did do that, she doesn't deserve to be out with anybody else. She deserves to be behind bars. That's just, no, I'm sorry. You just don't do that to a child. You don't do that to anybody for that matter, but a child is worst of all.
A child is worst of all. And when you see this man standing there talking about how, sorry, my cat just jumped up here. It's about to be a mess. For some reason, she wants to be up. She comes in the office and she wants to be up on the desk all the time. Goodness, that scared me to death. This was her earlier when I was getting the show ready. Now she's getting ready to attempt it again. She's on the other side and she's getting ready to attack the computer. Goodness. So if you hear a cat screaming, it's because I just had to get her off the computer again. So this guy, every time he goes to where he lives, he has to think about the morning of the disappearance of Quinton Simon. He gets there, Georgia Bureau, FBI. He knows what they're going through those dumpsters for. They're looking for Quinton. Oh my goodness. It is disgusting. It is disgusting. All right, so last week and a half. Okay, I'm just going to put you right here, and I've got to shut the door. You go eat your Friskies. This is really going to make her mad now because I had to shut her out. So last week before, Leilani's attorneys filed a motion for in-camera inspection of relevant DFACS files. They're wanting to know, obviously, what all CPS has on Leilani. But it's worded strange. So listen to this. Comes now Leilani Simon, defendant, by and through undersigned counsel. That's her public defender. It goes into Article 1, Section 1, United States Constitution, all that stuff. And the procedure set forth in Davidson versus State, and petitions the trial court to subpoena all Department of Family and Children's Services files pertaining to and or involving Zane. It gives a case and file number. Sky, it gives a case and file number because they have open cases right now. Child Quinton, no case and file number, and we know why. Daniel Youngkin, putative father of Sky Youngkin. Is he or is he not? Has he not proven his paternity? Corey Wharton, putative father of Corey Wharton, putative father, it should say Zane Wharton. Did he not prove his paternity to the court? The hell are they talking about? Oh, hang on, I'm on the wrong screen. Billy Joe Howell, guardian of Zane Wharton. Leilani Simon, mother, date of birth, March 11th, 84, the alleged. Leilani cannot be that old. She's 22. Her attorney did not fact check their document. She was not born in 1984. She was born like in 94. Anyway, the alleged defendant in the above styled case and to conduct an in-camera inspection to determine whether disclosure of those records or portions thereof to defense counsel is required for defendant to receive a fair trial. Why would they want any of that mentioned at all? It goes on to say defendant petitions the trial court for permission to directly issue subpoenas to defacts returnable to the court for in-camera inspection. Now, I think it's safe to say that all of the, I'm just going to say, abuse records would be definitely something that would want to be discussed. Billy's in her 40s. I don't know why it says 1984. That's why I said it's got to say something else. I thought they just said Billy was 20. I mean, not Billy. Leilani's 22. They got to get the year straightened out. That just threw me for a loop. Anyway, let's look at the clip because I want to know what the hell they're talking about.
Our continuing coverage of the Quinton Simon case, lawyers for Quinton's mother, Leilani Simon, who is still in jail tonight, have filed this motion. In it, they are asking those public defenders representing Leilani are asking for a judge to look over a defacts cases, several cases, in fact. Those lawyers want the judge to decide if those details in those defacts cases should be included in Leilani Simon's murder trial. The remains of the 20-month-old.
Now, let me ask you this. Why would her attorneys, they should be fighting not to bring that up? Not saying we need you to decide if it's going to be included or not, unless their defense is somebody else did it. Somebody else had been abusing Quinton. Danny was in the house. Danny's named in it. Billy was Zane's guardian. Billy left Leilani alone with Quinton, Zane, and Sky, even though she knew she wasn't supposed to. Do you think this is to take the heat off of Leilani? Let me go back. I was echoing. I'm sorry.
New details in our continuing coverage of the
Quinton Simon case, lawyers for Quinton's mother, Leilani Simon, who is still in jail tonight, have filed this motion. In it, they are asking, those public defenders representing Leilani are asking for a judge to look over a defacts cases, several cases, in fact. Those lawyers want the judge to decide if those details in those defacts cases should be included in Leilani Simon's murder trial. The remains of the 20-month-old were found in a landfill 6 weeks after the little boy was last seen. In a 19-count indictment, it accuses Leilani Simon of beating the little boy to death, then tossing his body in a dumpster. The investigative unit has been following this case since day one. We have full coverage on WSAV.com. You can find it there, WSAV.com/.
Brett's got a surprised look on his face. So they want to do in camera, which is in the judge's office. They're going to go through these records, these defacts records. There cannot be anything in those defacts records to make Leilani look good. There can't be one thing. Why on earth would her defense, obviously they want to look through them, but they don't need to look through them in the judge's office, and they don't need to talk to the judge about if they should be included in her trial or not. Unless, like Yogi said, Leilani was told to put it on Danny. I have a feeling that all the names that are mentioned in the document I just read to you until my cat attacked me and I got off course are going to be people she tries to blame. A mental illness trail. This isn't Idaho. This isn't Oklahoma. You can go the mental illness route in Georgia. What would be in there? If we go through the form that I read several months ago, where it was mentioned that she has bipolar depression that is untreated. Is that what they're going to try to go for? I don't know. I'm just asking you guys' opinion. Just me. It only takes one for reasonable doubt. You have 12 people. You might be dead to nuts. Leilani did it. Leilani did it alone. There's 11 other people that have to be convinced. It's not going to get past a camera that used to be fixed to the building at the trailer park, aimed at the dumpster where she put little Quinton Simon's body. There's something in those records they want included. And I think it stinks to high heaven. But hey, you know what? It's called due process, and everybody needs the best defense, right? It's up to the government to prove their case. Fun to Ski said, Nathan, 93, Joe, 95, Leilani, 2000, Paul, 2001. Yeah, what a typo. 1984? I didn't see that the first time I read it. Almost choked when I read it just now. I was like, what? 1984? She wasn't born in 1984. BJ looks older than 45. Hard life, dude. Hard life, dude. Hard life. All right, now we get to, which is something that you guys already knew, but we're going to go through it again. This came out last week. The family is still waiting on Quinton's remains. Now then, I know there was some arguments about this. If you look at the picture on the screen, after Quinton's remains were found in the waste management dump in Savannah, Georgia, before they had been analyzed or anything, Billy sent this picture around. Even Jennifer Coffindaffer, who is former FBI, put this picture on her Twitter. She said, "My baby Quinton, sweet monkey do Simon." This person said, "Oh, that's him." And she says, "Yes, it's my baby Quinton." This is not Quinton in this picture. They did not put Quinton's remains in the lobby of the FBI office. That is horrible, horrible to do. I've heard it's a police dog. I've heard it's a monument, not a monument, but agents that have fallen. It's not Quinton. It is not Quinton. I said, that can't be Quinton. He's being analyzed right now. Well, if you guys remember, a few people got really, really upset, and they're like, look at this, look at this. She says right there, that's baby Quinton. That's not baby Quinton. That is a slap in the face to Quinton, and it's a slap in the face to the remains that are in that box. That is insane. What an insane lie to make up. What an insane lie to make up. We also don't drape the American flag over babies' caskets. I'm sorry, we don't. Therefore, police, fire, soldiers, veterans, you know the drill. Shitty politicians. Keep It Real said you can actually photo search that and get the real answer too. Yeah, it took 12 whole seconds to figure it out. We don't, And when have we seen a child lay in wait at the FBI office? You know, on TV, when you see senators, Supreme Court justices, and they leave them in the rotunda for people to walk by, we don't leave remains sitting in a lobby. That's nuts. But a few people believed it, and boy, did they believe it. They got pissed. They got pissed if you said Quinton's not in there. Quinton is not in that box. He is not in that box. This was a week ago. Listen to this clip.
Today, the toddler Quinton Simon disappeared. And while his 23-year-old mother is behind bars for his murder, his family still can't bury him. Our Andy Cole, who has been on this story from the start, brings us the latest.
Right now, it's unknown when the family of Quinton Simon will be able to lay him to rest. That's according to the FBI. Nearly 100 days since he went missing,
That's according to the FBI. They don't know when they're going to get to bury him. They may not get to bury him until after the trial. It's happened in other cases. It's happened in other cases. But yet, this supposedly was his remains sitting in the FBI lobby with an American flag draped over his remains as if he's lying in state. According to the FBI, they don't know. They don't know. But they still don't have his remains. Look at that little face. Oh my God.
to rest. That's according to the FBI. Nearly 100 days since he went missing, Quinton's family is waiting on federal investigators. They tell us that they still have custody of his remains while the investigation into his murder continues. It all started in early October. His then 22-year-old mother, Leilani Simon, called 911 and said someone took him. After a week-long physical search, police announced that he was likely dead and named his mother the prime suspect. That's when investigators turned their efforts to a landfill. The expert searchers spent 31 days sifting through literal tons of trash until they found Quinton's remains. It was just before Thanksgiving that Leilani Simon was arrested, since she's been spending her days behind bars awaiting a court date. At the same time, Florida-based Soul Shine Industries sent this custom casket to the family. An anonymous donor paid for it. But for now, that casket remains empty, while investigators continue their fight for justice for Quinton Simon. In Savannah,
Poor little Quinton. So somebody made them a custom casket, which might be empty for quite a long time. Last I heard, JJ and Tylee had not been released to their families either. There is an investigation going on. There is an investigation. Let us also not forget, it is said that she beat him to death. They may need his remains to investigate. Why would she make up such a lie? And you know what? It's no fault of anybody for believing it, because it kind of made them feel good. Look, you know, they put, the FBI thinks so much of Quinton that they are leaving him there in the lobby. I don't know. I couldn't quite figure out the sense behind it. But there it is right there. They said no. They don't know when they're going to release his remains. They don't know. They have no idea. Wolfpack said that is so nice that donor did that. It is. Super nice. Super nice. Super nice. And in the meantime, they were raising money for a funeral. Well, when's the funeral going to be? Because you don't have any remains. You may not have any for a very long time. Where Summer said Quinton's remains will go to Bubba Moss. He's the next of kin. He's the next of kin. Good Grandma said she's pathological. Shelly said again, not her baby. It's not her baby. I could not believe when I saw that picture. You know, you can't get, I used to think you couldn't get lower than the gutter, but then you can. She really outdid herself. Every time I turned around, I was like, damn, she did it again. I think you can't get any lower. And she did it again. The audacity. And to the people that have served in the military, and they had the honor of being, you know, having their casket draped with the American flag. And she says, oh, they did that special for Quinton. That's Quinton in there. Now, if she ever got confronted with it, and you make her watch this news clip that says the remains haven't been released, she would probably say somebody told her that and she believed them. There's always a lie to make an excuse or to cover another lie. That's how lies go, though, right? You ever try to tell a lie? I know I have. It takes another lie and another lie and another lie to cover it up. Then you finally, some people just give up. Some people just give up. Not her. Not her. Horrible, horrible, horrible people. It's disgusting. Pearl said she's already at rock bottom. Yep, she didn't look too happy in her mugshot. She did not look happy in that mugshot at all. Nope. Nope. People said she doesn't look like she's in her 40s. That's called hard living. That is called hard living. And what makes her think that she would get the remains? She was sitting in jail. When he went missing, Bubba took a paternity test that says, Bubba, you're the father. Bubba will get the remains. Now, if Bubba says, I don't want them, give them to Billy, well, we can't do anything about that. It's insane. All right, guys, that is all I've got. That's all I've got. Thank you, Mrs. O, for coming up. Thank you, Keeping It Real, for coming up. Thank you, Shannon, for coming up. Thank you to all of you for being here. That is our update on Quinton. Anytime there's an update, I don't know that I'll do it the exact same day, but we will definitely have a live, and we will stay up to date on the case best we can. Because I'm telling you, little Quinton just tears at my heart. Big time. Big time. And I just cannot believe. It's one thing for the murderer to be just the nasty person and everybody in agreement. He had a whole coven of nasty around him. I can't believe what his own grandmother pulled. Cannot believe what his own grandmother pulled. Lie after lie after lie after lie. All right, guys, after this, I'll see you over in Discord. I'll chat with you over there, or I'll see you in one of the Facebook groups. If I don't see you around this afternoon, then I'll see you back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Cat, exactly. Every case from start to end. That is right. That is right. See you back here tomorrow, guys. You're the absolute best.